comes the Nasty Gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nasty Gram Under the Table podcast, which is also going to be put on the Nasty Gram RPG podcast feed for a special sneak into what there is to offer.
They're sneaking into it?
This is Josh, long-windedly joined by the hefty, full-sized holiday Thanksgiving serving.
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going.
I'm on a diet.
I thought you were going to talk about my junk. I don't know.
Goddamn.
This is weird.
That was Josh. This is Jake.
Hey, Dan here.
Hey, John here.
Matt here.
Hey, it's Devin.
Ryan, hey.
In the snack shack, we have Ryan. So those of you who don't know, we now have a Patreon. One of the special features of it is a bonus feed we call Under the Table. You get access to that at any of our Patreon levels. At the top level, the Heroes Feast level, you get to pick a GM roundtable topic. This is our inaugural one, and we thought it would be cool to throw it out there. In no way as a completely self-serving advertisement to join our Patreon, but instead solely as a Thanksgiving gift to you, the Nasty Gram listener.
Josh, what do we call it under the table?
Who came up with that name?
I don't know.
Who threw that out there?
Who could possibly?
I don't remember.
It was a collaborative effort, probably.
Collaborative.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
Just floated to the top.
talk about getting at the table. We're going to put you under the table.
Oh, I like it.
What kind of things happen under the table?
Well, you gotta pay to find that out.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Shout out to the first member, Peter, to sign up at the Heroes Feast level.
Sensational.
A true hero.
And people have asked us over the years, like, you should do a Patreon. I'd throw you some money, whatever. And Peter put his money where his mouth is. And now,
Under the table.
Let's make that man a stew.
well, now we're going to put our mouth where his money is.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
So
Interesting.
basically, if you give us money, you can do what you want with our mouth.
This is really turning
I didn't
out.
read that. I didn't read that part.
This is OnlyFans?
I mean, just go on Patreon, give us some money.
You'll see.
And take Dan's mouth for a spin.
God damn it. You'll hear all sorts of accents.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff there. And we're just getting going with it, but more to come. And we're going to shout out our Patrons at the end of this. But the topic Peter gave to us is, what are some tropes that you find yourself leaning into as a GM or player? He said, as a player, I have a trend of giving my PCs a vice that colors their initial appearances and then build from there. As a GM, I find that eventually work an intrigue plot into a campaign as they are, for me, the most exciting to run. So we're just going to open this up. Who wants to throw something out that they think they individually, or if they just want to immediately pass the buck and point at another player, identify another trope trend we lean into?
This was kind of eye-opening, to be honest. Jake here. Because I in preparation for this, made a big list of character and story tropes, and then went through all of the arcs I've done that are that we've published, that we put on the Nastagram podcast, and then kind of assigned tropes to them and realized that I definitely have a tendency to have the party get betrayed by a previous mentor.
Strangely,
Why are you so good at Dark Elf games?
who's keeping these stats?
Because not only, spoiler alert right here, not only did that happen in Boston Masquerade, but it also happened in Tangled Web. It also, Dan and Josh, you'll remember, it happened in like the first big D&D campaign I ever ran, where our friend Cooper's played a pacifist gnome wizard because he's an asshole.
Yep.
And his,
Alazar?
master.
I remember what you're talking about.
Gandalf, basically,
Yep.
because we're
Yep.
teenagers, like old wizard guy, ended up being like the main bad guy. And I had
He was a
forgot
good
about
bad
that.
guy.
He was,
Or a bad good guy?
He was your typical
I'm doing it for the
Ozymandias.
right reasons. Yeah.
Greater good.
Yeah.
But so I think I have a tendency to do that.
Well, isn't that the whole cliche in D&D that the big bad guy is always the first person you meet?
Right.
Yeah,
and
fair.
and honestly, sometimes I lean into that. Like sometimes I do it on purpose.
Like, how dare he do? Like, we wouldn't expect it.
I think Jake likes to show the bad guy, which I think is cool. And then, the betrayal and all the intrigue and stuff happens all around it. The theme, the trope of like mystery and betrayal and stuff like that, that was Sir Thom, Liv, and Peter all said that was something that they, that they've seen and played. And I think it's a popular, like a.
Why do we think it's
theme.
popular? I mean, because my initial thought is that when you can try to humanize a bad guy, it makes for a better bad guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's more compelling, I think.
Do you have a reason why you like to do it, Jake?
I think one of the main reasons is that I like to use the information that the players give me with their backstory, and I like to use the NPCs and the things that they've developed in the game, So basically I'll make a list of like, here's all the characters and here's all the people they know, and then I'll say, okay, which slot can I put each of those into?
Yeah, it makes people more bought into the story,
Right?
Because it's their mentor or character or whatever.
But I don't think that necessarily just playing a mystery game is a trope. I think tropes are things that you just see too much, like that kind of get overdone, right? I mean, without spending too much time defining a trope. Oh my God, Ryan has a little possum.
Fuck. Is that Johnny?
I found a possum head in the snack shack.
It's not a real possum head. No. Johnny's fine. He's still
Maybe
safely undead.
because we came up with a fair amount of tropes, both character and story wise. We'll highlight the ones that maybe are specific to us, but maybe we'll throw those up online somewhere. That list, because it's a pretty long list that we have. I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah. I think we tend to avoid when we're running games, we tend to avoid the most egregious tropes. I think for the most part, we avoid things like the chosen one type thing and typical revenge plot,
And I don't think we do a lot of the bog standard, like heroic fantasy. There's a evil, like there is a definite big bad evil, necromancer or something, and go fight it, go through their lair and kill them or whatever. Except for Strahd, I guess.
No,
but,
well, that's a pre-made game.
Yeah.
But I think we always tend to go the other route, which is the humanizing the villain or sympathizing with them or making someone appear to be the villain and then turning it on its head and they're not. Like the Rot on the Vine game you just ran, Zavir, the necromancer, was like kind of just a red herring.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. I think part of that, when I was thinking about this and I was thinking about not just myself, but other players, I had a harder time thinking of tropes that any of us lean into as a GM than as PCs. I could think of stuff for all of us, myself included. Yeah. And I don't know if that's by nature of like playing together for a really long time, and maybe like we bored ourselves out from being in games, either running or playing games that lean too heavily into a trope. And I'm not saying this to say that our games are the most fucking fresh original thing in the world, but I do think we avoid a lot of the most obvious ones.
Well,
maybe?
I think too, maybe a lot of the obvious ones are when you're first starting D&D. Those are the adventure or role playing in general. Those are the things that are most well known, that they are kind of the expectation almost. Like I can think of when I was younger, we've been doing this for an ungodly amount of time, 30 plus years. And I can think of some of these things being more common in our original games, but post adulthood / years and years of playing, I think we started putting some of those in the rearview mirror.
I think to some extent we all use tropes to a certain, for character development and for game design. But I think it's more of a beginning framework of like, this is my character. This is the trope I'm going to build on, and then kind of subvert it or change it to fit what I want it to be. Because everything is to some level will feed into a character, a trope from popular media, whatever.
Yeah, like you could say, like Slash Root
Yeah.
was at the base, like the bard that wants to fuck everything.
Yeah, yep,
You
yep.
know, like
Yeah.
obviously he was a lot more than that, but like but I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a good way of at least starting your character design on a very basic level.
I think learning the tropes and experiencing them is a great, like, that's like your introductory language to these games that we play. Like learning about like everyone has seen the rogue, like my family is dead and I don't know anyone in this town. It's like, and it's fun. And that's like, looking back, all those things built up to, what now we incorporate into our games. But it's fun. I mean, those things will still happen. And then just to like poke fun at them. And then like John says, like either subvert it or just discard it entirely and then, move on. And a lot of the players in our games tell the stories. So if it's like a GM can't really, only has so much power to shape any of these stories that we've told, it's a collaborative thing. And I think it's not just, one person or one character that can sort of bloom this, this goofy, a sort of a trope into the game. There's like a check when there's, a bunch of other characters and a tone that you've all agreed on to play. You just sort of hammer it out.
I have to take offense to something Dan said. Do you think that my very first D&D character, the elf ranger dual wielder,
Was borrowed or the classic
is that,
trope?
is that what you're trying to tell me?
Maybe.
Dan, how many times have you played wrestling?
Oh, so many. I know, like innumerable.
I think if we, when we, as a GM, I think when I, as a GM, I sometimes maybe consciously start with a trope and I try to subvert it. And I'm not saying I do like an amazing job of it, but you start with something very simple of a trope. Like the first game I ran on Nastygram, One Shot of the Monster. There's a big bad guy, you got to go fight him. And really that's what it was, but then try to make that more interesting by the other things. And that was collaborative. That wasn't just me.
Yeah, and then we ran the same game.
And then concurrently, Jake was basically running the same game. In the timeline, it was actually kind of intertwined.
And part of that was we consciously wanted to run pretty simple games because it was the first time we were doing a podcast. And we were like, let's keep it basic, and we both basically ran the same game.
Same thing. Big bad dragony thing.
Yeah.
I will say, I think for a trope for storytelling, one that I still always try to lean, or I always gravitate towards, is the big reveal. However that plays out, the details can be, from sci-fi to fantasy, but I'm always trying to think of a big reveal just because I like those shock moments. Sometimes that can make, I think, my games a little railroady, a little, because you want that reveal. You and you have to kind of force it if you're going to get it sometimes if things aren't going your way. So it's something to be careful of, but it's also one of the fun moments when players like all of a sudden understand the mechanics at work that are kind of in the background that haven't been revealed to them yet.
Dan, did you ever watch The Prestige?
Yeah.
With Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman? I think the reveal is like, it is a storytelling like moment. It's like a climax.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're pointing to, like you run games with like sort of like a mystery or there's something unknown to the players. And that's where the reveal, like you can only have a reveal when there's something that's hidden.
Yep.
Which I think points to, just some other things, whether it be in, the genre of mystery or, whatever it is, or if it's just like a fun reveal, like in a Monster of the Week game where you find out, this, that, or the other thing is, the guy's the chef the whole time.
Sure.
It was the dishwasher.
I like the prophetic dream foreshadowing trope. I feel like I've done that a few times, but I like it. I don't know. I'm a sucker for.
You've deployed them effectively.
I'm a sucker for the foreshadowing with like some sort of dream. I mean, it helps when people are like, I'm going to play a character that's, you know, all about divination or, you know, because I think that, you know, in the what game was that? Yeah, Tangled Web.
Tangled Web.
Josh played a diviner, so it was easy. In Dark Legacy, Matt's character, like, you know, I think I started the entire thing off with him having like a dream sequence. But I like that. I like foreshadowing with like prophecy, dream things, stuff like that.
Yeah, but not making it. You don't make it the center point of the campaign. Like we have to solve your dream in order to,
No.
you know.
Sure. Yeah.
No, because that's when you risk getting railroady when you're like the whole campaign is a prophecy or
Yeah.
destiny. Those are annoying tropes.
I
'cause,
remember, I think
yeah,
one
you
of
don't have control.
my earlier attempts to run a D&D game, I started out with prophecy, and then as soon as session 1 was over, I was like, I can't kill them. It's impossible. Like the game's over. It was such a learning moment for me. This was many years ago, but yeah, that prophecy is one that's very risky, and it's also something that's done very often in a lot of fantasy writing these days and a lot of television shows. So it's something. A little bit of it can help, I think, but when it gets when you're too heavy into it, there's so much lore, there's so many pitfalls, there's so much like plot armor. You just got to be careful.
I think I'm going back to what Devin said when I'm thinking about why do I feel like our games at the GM side of it doesn't rely as much on tropes. And I think I've come to feel more and more that the overall plot that the GM starts with a game, it doesn't have to be the most interesting original thing in the world. I think have some stuff going on there. You can start with maybe some stuff that's tropey, but I think we've all really leaned towards a collaborative storytelling element. So no matter what you start with, if you're letting the characters influence the story and their interactions with NPCs affect the story, then I think intrinsically you're getting off of that because the story is going to shift. It's not predetermined. Maybe motivations are predetermined for NPCs or bad guys or whatever.
Right. You're adding a random element to your game.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I
the other players.
Yeah. Which is, so when I'm saying I don't think we're super tropey with our plots, it's that I don't think our plots are like the special thing. It's like what comes out of playing the games.
I'm nodding my head.
You could.
I concur.
Yeah, your plots are nothing special, guys. Sorry.
Although red herring, Adam Talbot threw this out in the Discord chat. Join the Discord by joining our Patreon. He said favorite. We're talking about tropes. The red herring. What you thought was the big bad isn't the big bad. Merely a pawn of a bigger bad. As an example, least favorite. You begin in a tavern. Once and only once has not made my eyes roll. Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
This made me love Adam Talbot so much. I read like all 50 of the Dragonlance books. It was extensive.
And he said Nastygram specific warlock spam, which.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, just because we always have
We
warlocks.
always have warlocks.
Too many warlocks,
We have
man.
so many warlocks.
Did someone leak the signal chat
Yeah.
when a new
the
campaign
Patreon.
is announced and everyone's like, I'm thinking Warlock.
I'm thinking
Josh did post that.
After that was after Adam
Yeah.
posted
Oh,
this.
that's funny.
The fact that I love Adam has nothing to do with that he said that I had a zaddy voice when I was sick. Either.
Yeah.
That was completely unrelated.
But yeah, I think I lean into the red herring thing. I think that's a common trope I like to do, whether it's, who you think is a bad guy isn't the bad guy, or a culture or a group that you think you have an idea of. Like, I know I tried to do that with one shot with like the native culture that's up there, the elves, like being very different than a normal elf culture, or the
good guy
who was it?
Nazis in that game he ran.
There's no good guy Nazis.
Just wait. Wait for you'll see.
Try to do with the Cleary and Empire's End, like the native race down there.
Yep.
Like, and I think it's a crutch. It's a trope. It definitely is. I think that's one I do pretty often.
You mean like the sort of Dances with Wolves, Pocahontas, that trope, like, or what's that other one with the unobtainium? Avatar.
Dances
That
with-
little
Dances
movie.
with
For the younger listeners.
Definitely some of that, or it might just manifest as what you think is the threat isn't really the threat.
Sure, but I do think you I've seen you do that, the native culture versus like, big evil empire trope. You've done that a few times.
Yeah, I have. Well, I'm very inclusive, Jake. Everybody says this.
Those Imperial officers had families.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that in of itself, running a game where you're playing Imperials was leaning into a something like that, which not everybody liked from an audience perspective. We got some of our first great negative comments about that.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember. There wasn't like on our socials, but I remember like we were posting and sharing it, and somebody like it was like one of the episodes, and they were like, "Oh, great, a boardroom meeting between fascists."
I forgot about that one. That was great.
That was fun.
That's great. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it totally made me feel like, all right, welcome to the internet.
Are they subscribed now?
I think we might have lost them.
I think they're in a cabinet now.
Yes. So I don't know. Maybe anybody else before we get into PC tropes, which I think is going to be easier, more fruitful. Anything else for GM tropes for you, or you can think of for somebody else? Really throw each other on the
I don't
bus.
think I have many. I mean, I haven't DM'd nearly as long as you guys. And I only have a couple games. Well, now more, but the one where I really did lean into tropes was Pale Blue Dot, and that was really trying to get into mystery, which I never really did before. And that was pretty fun to build on the it was the red herring where the alien wasn't the alien, and the turning people against themselves and corrupting players and all that. And that was really fun. And it was the big reveal too of Jake's character showing up at the end of the first episode or second episode, being captured.
like the body snatcher type trope, which it's popular because it introduces a cool element of not being able to trust anyone.
Uncertainty.
I think Battlestar Galactica probably did it the best,
yeah.
and ever since watching that show, every game I run, I want it to be like that. But yeah, that's definitely a trope. But it's again one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think
the
these
dread.
things- Go ahead.
The dread of knowing that the enemy may be among you is a very powerful storytelling
The
tool.
thing, of course, too. The
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that-
I think the reason these tropes are tropes is because like everyone knows what they are and they work. Like Pale Blue Dot, like I was sucked in. Like yeah, you can like I've seen Alien. Like we know everyone sort of has an idea of what's going on, but it's fun to just to play into it and have fun, and and then there's always ways that that it can be subverted, and
Right.
You can play around with it once you understand it.
I think everyone knows them because generally they come from one piece of media that ends up becoming so hugely popular, and then everything copies it. A more modern trope is the trope of like the special school. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so
Special
fucking-
school is everywhere.
I'm so sick
Everywhere.
of that.
Yeah.
And that's Harry Potter. I mean, technically it's probably Marvel with like,
Professor
Professor X, but Harry Potter is what made that explode. And now there's a million shows that are the gifted school for magicians or mutants or whatever, and we've talked about playing games like that, but that's not every trope is. A lot of tropes are just kind of really stale because they're overdone.
The last trope I'll mention that I think we've all done, and I think it's actually in response to some. I'm trying to remember who wrote it. Someone said one of their tropes that they liked less was the murder hobo, like that killing doesn't have consequences. Is that we do the opposite, in which meaning like you're trying to do the right thing sometimes, and you end up doing the wrong thing. I think we do that in a lot of our games because there are consequences for, swinging a sword or, shooting a fireball, and, maybe you burn down all the food supplies of a dark elf city, when you're just.
That's more of that's the
You sound defensive.
That's the anti-villain story. So there's the hero, the anti-hero.
Oh, I see.
And then there's the villain, and there's the anti-villain. The anti-villain thinks that they're doing a good thing, and they're doing a bad
see.
thing. And that's totally cool and awesome and normal. It's great to have in your game.
I don't want to spoil Matt's game since it hasn't been put on the podcast yet, but like I know Matt had a real kick in the nuts moment in his game where he did that to you guys.
Yep, a couple of times.
We're gonna kill this thing, and then we're assholes.
I think moral dilemma is Jake called me on that, suspecting I would do it in one of the last one shots, either Right on the Vine or one of them.
Right on the Vine, yeah.
But I think leaning into that, like, which again is getting away from the murder hobo, putting people in a situation where there isn't necessarily a good choice. And that was Sir Thom that talked about that. And that's one of his things he really likes, difficult decisions that have consequences. The morally gray theme setting storyline makes the emergence of a heroic or good character / acts more interesting. So I think we've played multiple games where you're traditionally playing a quote unquote bad guy, and then you're making him 3-dimensional. And maybe some of them still end up not being real true heroes. Maybe some of them do have redemption arcs. But I think that's fun. And I think that's a trope to lean into.
Well,
I mean, technically Tangled Web, we're all
exactly
by the definition of how they frame dark elves, we're all kind of bad guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Sir Thom, later down in his post, went on to talk about some of the tropes that he does not enjoy or enjoys less. And two of them were heaven versus hell and basic good versus evil, which is it reaffirms, that sort of gray area, like, moral unclarity is a fun place to play, is to play games, because, when it's like dichotomous, where it's like you are the good guy fighting against the evil guy. And it's like, well, the tough decisions and like the compromises and things are what make those characters, like, taking that character, maybe take that good character and compromise, have them compromise in some way. But that goes into, it's morally gray. You want, the sort of redemption arc or the falling of a character is another sort of trope, but it makes for good storytelling if you use it correctly, like Jake's dream sequences.
Your character in Cyberpunk was kind of completely a Cyberpunk trope. But he was, I think it was.
I was very thankful.
One of the best parts of the game, because
it was fun.
It was awesome, yeah. But I mean, he was the trope of the Chrome boy,
Dome
goes crazy, right?
Yep.
I think before we get fully into PC stuff, I would say, hearing everybody talk, I think tropes in a storyline or as a GM, I think serve the most purpose in the shorter the game is. Because I think what tropes do really well is they set a general expectation, a tone, a setting, whatever it is. There's something you start with, and maybe you subvert it, maybe you don't. But the shorter the game is, I think the more important it is to get everyone on the same page quick. Of like, okay, this is what this game is like. Whether it's, people brought stuff up in the Discord about like the isolation horror. Like if you have a short game, whether, Pale Blue Dot was like 6 episodes, some of the one-shot-ish things we've done, okay, this is that kind of game. Everybody has an idea of what that is from a movie or a show or whatever. And I think tropes can be very useful then.
Good point.
Yeah, and lets you start right in the middle of action. Everyone understands what the premise is, and you can start right in the middle of the story, basically, as opposed to having to. Yeah,
if you're running a one shot and you start off on a submarine under the Arctic ice, then it's like, oh, cool. All right, we're doing isolation. There's nowhere for them to go. Right. Cool. All right, I'm on board.
And kind of the counterpoint to do real intrigue, it takes a long time. Usually, you need people to gather information and suss things out and explore different pathways, and that sometimes just isn't, it's not in the timeline for a game, or it's not really the story idea. So,
player character tropes.
Oh God!
Anybody think anybody does any of those?
The Dark Lord.
Josh, I'm going to call you out. I don't know I don't know how you would define this trope, but here's the thing Josh does.
I came up with 2 in my own head about me.
This is mostly D&D, but here's what Josh does. Josh goes, I'm going to make a character that on paper is a total dog shit. Worst stats possible, worst combination of classes and skills. I'm going to take like a feat that lets me play the lute, Like just, and then I'm just gonna like role play it so hard.
That is definitely intentionally, mechanically flawed. And then I think I couple it with, I think I really lean into like having a major flaw or shortcoming for the character as like almost a starting point. Whether it's, you know, like some of them are like simple as like, which deadly sin would this character be? Like, so Xavier, both mechanically like frustrating for a GM to run, but also just lean into the pride thing and, you know, or have, you know, Larry just creepy. I want to play really creepy and off-putting, and like, how can I like come around on that? I guess it's sort of to give myself a challenge, and it's not like I have acting chops, but I just enjoy the challenge of like finding a character. I guess I just don't want to play like a cool badass hero guy. Like that's one of the least interesting things I can imagine playing as a character.
Well, that goes back to what Dan was saying earlier. It's like you guys have been playing for, you know, long time, and you know you've played that, you know,
That doesn't stop me.
that archetype. Well, that is true. But that then speaks to like, you know, it's fun to go back and like, you know, have those, you know, make fun of those things.
Can we talk about Devin's trope?
Are we allowed to?
Baritone lesbians?
I love baritone lesbians.
Like, that's just his actual voice. But.
Yeah.
We just need to I need an actual tally of how many.
3.
Hey, love is
Three?
love. Love is
Three, I
love,
think.
man.
Three?
Is love.
I think
Love
it's
is love,
3.
man.
3 out of what? 6
Ithaca,
games? The Tangled Web?
Tangled Web,
Mhm.
and was there another one?
That's weird.
Bobby
there's another
Bergeron
one.
went all the ways.
But yeah, Barry Bergeron.
Barry's pansexual.
Yeah, for sure.
Barry Bergeron fucked Donna.
Who can I? So I had thoughts for tropes for everybody.
Okay.
I'm not going to do them all myself. Everybody has to participate. But Jake, you're one of the harder ones to pin down. I think you maybe more than any of us avoid tropes as a PC. If there's something that I kept kind of coming back to, it was either being anti-establishment or very confrontational. But that's a very wide net.
I think sometimes Jake is confrontational to help because he's been a GM for so long. He's very good at getting the game going along and making sure that the other players are in.
This is off topic, but I think I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately. Here's my resolution for next year: to play characters that I just want to play, because I think that with
So
a
brave.
few exceptions, shut up. I think with a few exceptions, I for our major arcs, I've tended to play characters where I'm like, what does the party need, and what is, as John said, what's going to keep us on track.
Yeah.
Like my character for Cyberpunk was 100% just, Dan, I will make sure we stay on mission.
Yep.
You know, and it was fun. Like I liked that he had a little sort of decline into evil, but he was kind of boring, like to me.
In that setting, he didn't like, he wasn't as vibrant as you could be, right?
And he
Sure.
was sort of counterculture.
Yep.
I mean, the setting is counterculture, and he was like, you know, the straight laced guy, so he was counterculture.
Yeah.
Put
And
that on a
I do
chart.
think I tend to do that. I tend to play those kind of characters. But yeah, lately I've been just kind of veering towards the like what'll help the party go the direction they need to go.
Dan does a lot of self-flagellation.
Yeah.
so much.
You think?
And there's
The tortured, the dark.
correct.
Blood
That is-
sacrifice.
Yeah.
it's all, I've played
Or-
so many of them.
When it's
Or-
when it's a low stakes game,
Yep.
if it's a shorter game and he wants to have fun, he plays the fish out of water.
Yep. Fish out of water is a
Yep.
good one.
Yeah.
Although I did that for a long time in Wings of Connie.
Wings of Connie did the fish out of water,
Yep.
and
Dan played a skeleton in the Pathfinder game.
I think about that character all the time. There's no character I'd rather be than Skeletor.
Into the Storm. Also, you were kind of a fish out of water, right? And a
No, that was a cutter.
self-flagellating.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
cutter.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
My character is the fish.
You were, yes.
And Sapoosh was the
Sapoosh.
Fish in water.
Otter and water.
Water.
Yeah, and the old trope for Dan, kind of even pre-podcast, was, somebody would pitch a game and then you'd get a fucking
Pages.
3 to
Pages.
5 page.
I always made my characters
backstory.
backwards. Like I made them epically heroic, and then they were a
You
first
ruined
level
them.
character.
Dan
It was-
has the
it never
custom
worked.
character sheet.
I remember at one point you gave me a character concept for someone who had been trapped in a bubble underground in
Love it.
for like millennium, and they were like in this like wizard
Avatar.
city in a bubble underground.
That's the Imiskari, I think, in Forgotten Realms.
Sure.
Yep. And the age backwards, maybe? I don't know. A Benjamin Button scenario.
Jesus.
It was crazy. It was madness.
I think tropes as a PC are not a bad thing, because I'll throw this to Ryan. I think not all of Ryan's characters, but many we can think
most
of some
memorable.
tropes for, and they are, for me, and I think a lot of our listeners, some of their favorite characters.
Hilgus's meats and cheeses.
Which I would describe as maybe dumb and unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah.
Like the character is not funny. They are funny as part of the story. Like, you don't play comedians. You don't play like guys with quippy lines, which is kind of tough for you because you are very clever and quippy. So you have to do it in a way where the character isn't aware they're being funny usually.
I think, as Jake said, he plays a lot of characters to keep the story going. I do the exact opposite.
Stop it. Stop the story.
I've been playing characters that derail every single game. So I apologize to all of you for that. I've had a lot of fun doing it, but
There was a run of characters. I can't remember all of them. It was just like whoever, you just had to have all the swords. It was just all, whenever.
That was pre-podcast.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pre-podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was partially my fault. I kept giving him swords.
you took them away, and then you gave me 2. You took 1 and you gave me 2. So,
What's his name from Monster of the Week? Ken
Wiley.
Ken
Yeah,
Wiley. Ken Wiley's
Great.
a legendary.
I revisit. Yeah, that's
Maybe doesn't fit what I just described.
No.
Not dumb.
no.
Probably the most like deliberately in character funny.
Gregarious.
But actually not a lot of the shit he was saying. I don't think he was trying to make a joke. He was
Man,
talking
It
about
was terrible. Yeah, it was not. Ken was
Cruises.
kind of astute, but was not.
But Ryan will present a concept in like 5 words. Like Ken Wiley is your swinger uncle, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
and
Again,
then really roll with it.
Yeah, again, it's so weird that the picture that Liv made of him literally looks like my great uncle. Which is just strange,
Ethan Crane was like millennial tech bro.
Yep. And I think why PC tropes to some extent are good is that, I mean, even a lot of good actors lean into playing certain roles. And I don't think any of us are like good Hollywood actor levels. Like we have fun playing a podcast and we can get into character, but like not everybody can play. I can't shut the fuck up. So I can't play a character who doesn't talk much because I'm
But
loud.
you tried with Xavier.
And it didn't work out.
True. Then I have to find another way to do it. I have to have a loud little fucking minion or amp or something like that. I guess Larry might have been the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
But I think it does have to reflect, like, yeah, if you are casting yourself as an actor, like, you're not going to play every role in the world, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're Gary Oldman.
Yeah. No Gary Oldman's at this table.
Fact.
Matt, you were tough to pin down too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of stuff
but
for Matt.
I thought of, because your characters are extremely varied, and one thing I thought of as a trend is that they're often outsiders or loners, isolated, kind of like either from a different culture or withdrawn, like initially, like, or something like that. That's kind of as far as I could kind of get my head around trying to like find through lines between your different characters.
Yeah, I try to make every character different, but I always do find that they wind up being quiet outsiders.
but they're all. But again, that's where like, okay, maybe that's a trope for your characters, but then you look at it and all your characters are so different. Where it's like, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a starting point, right?
yeah,
Any trope you have is just a starting point.
I mean, yeah, this whole time I've been thinking about tropes and like good or bad, it's just a hook. It's the hook that gets you into for a character. The trope is the thing that gets me into character. Well, I'm like the quiet loner guy, so like this is kind of how he's going to like act as the GM. Like, if I want to get you involved in the story, like, what's the hook? It's you gotta go kill the bad guy. Yeah, there's a mystery you gotta solve. Like, that's all it is, and then from there, you make everything else up.
What game is it? It calls it your high concept.
Yeah,
Is that
Fate. I believe.
Fate,
Yeah.
Fate. Yeah, it's your high concept,
Yeah.
and then in Vampire, it's your nature and demeanor.
Yeah.
I think it signals to the other players at the table too, like to inform like sort of the role play, because a lot of times we roll characters, we talk about it a little bit, and then we come and we sit down and we play for the first time, and having those things just to like grab onto for other players as well as the GM, it helps you sort of start finding your character's voice and talking with other characters.
That makes me. I have a question for you guys. This is off topic, but when you guys sit down with like a character concept, history written out and everything, and then we start playing, do you often find that your character ends up being nothing like you had kind of imagined them being?
Yeah.
yes.
More often than not, yeah.
Like just based on, you think it's just based on like how you interact, or I don't know. Why does that happen?
I think for me, it's fitting the party a lot of times, especially when it's tonal. Like you might have an idea of what's happening in the game, and then all the characters come together and you change it up a little bit.
That, and you're depending on where your character's at in the history of their life, so to speak, you may be kind of creating them in the sense of you're creating their story as you go. So they naturally evolve into something other than what you had originally planned.
My favorite example of this is Dante playing in Wings of Connie. And he was talking to me, making his character. He's like, I'm going to be a bounty hunter. And like, I'm not going to, I don't trust, I'm not going to trust the group. And I'm going to try to find a way. Like, he's like, I'm going to try to find a funny way to, fuck with them. And then he played, and it turns out that, what was her name? Celie, the Lisi, was like cooperating with the group. And then afterwards, Dante's like, yeah, I thought I was going to like not trust you guys, but you guys are really like, you really great. And I respect you. It was so awesome. Like, and I knew he had this idea, and then watching him, watching that character, like come in contact with other characters, and they, it turns out totally different than what he even thought.
I think the reason I derail my own character concepts is I think of a character concept. I usually, especially more frequently now, try not to go too in depth with it because I want to develop in game. But then, and I'm not great with character voices, but I do try to kind of find a voice. And that voice usually changes what I thought the character was going to be like just by what I think I would say in this voice. Like Larry was going to be a lot more horrific. And I think he ended up being kind of like somewhat heartwarming in a way.
He was endearing.
And part of it was just how I was talking. Like,
He was sympathetic.
yeah,
I'm
and I didn't
originally.
intend him to be that way.
I remember originally he was going to be a cannibal. I'm like, you dialed him back a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think finding a voice for me changes because I never have a good voice before we start playing. I'm not saying I have a good voice while we're playing, but I never like have a very clear concept of how he's going to sound and talk until we're getting into it. And then that definitely changes the way.
Yeah, I think John had a really good point about it being tonal, like the tone of the game. And I think that's what happened with Larry. Like, you're like, oh, okay, this is like a kind of political intrigue, like, mystery thing, not a monsters literally eating flesh thing.
Liv did say in the chat, which we've kind of talked about. I think this is true for most of us. I love that you guys often choose to play more like questionable characters or the underdog instead of going for the classic hero trope. I love that I sometimes have to question how much I enjoy a character when they do bad things. As a listener, it's more fun to follow. I'm sure as players, you have more fun creating and playing them too. And I think that's just, playing a bunch, you start to like do different things to make it more interesting for yourself and the other people at the table.
Peter also brought up vices in Liv's message too. Good players are sort of characters that are, they're good or trying to do good, but they do bad things. And vices is that sort of that concept too. And I wrote down Blades in the Dark because there's, it's one thing for a GM to create, in Dan's case, some sort of self-flagellation, sacrificial, powers between, a GM fiat and the player. Games like Blades in the Dark have vices built into the like in between the mission sort of recovery time. And there's still stakes in that. You're still role playing. You're indulging in your vice. If you indulge too much, you get lost or there's consequences. So I think, I don't know. Is it a trope if it's sort of built into the rules of the game? Or
I think the reason it's built into the rules of the game is because it's a trope.
Yeah.
I think it was a trope first, and the most typical version of that you would see in like Hollywood is the alcoholic detective, who between each quote unquote mission, like during downtime, he's getting drunk
or the
getting into a
smash
fight
addicted cyber psycho.
Yeah. Right.
Or stealing evidence from the locker.
Yeah, I was trying to think of my tropes for my characters. I think the biggest one is the rebel with a cause trope. A lot of my characters are rebellious against whatever is happening.
A little edgelordy, maybe.
Yeah.
And
that
again,
was,
not in a bad way.
yeah.
Like that can always be like good spice in a game.
Yeah.
Wings of Connie and Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boston Masquerade, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking Poro Randar was kind of a rebel-ish in the fact that he was much more, didn't really care about what was happening with the Empire or anything, just cared about the men.
Even the guy that you played in the cameo in the vampire game.
Yeah.
I mean the Dark Elf game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did I kill him?
He's a union guy.
Yeah. One of you killed him.
I think I did.
Speaking of you killing players, player characters, not players. Dan has never killed a fellow player.
That we know of.
On air.
You'll never prove it.
I think a trope that as a game master I tend to lean into is attempting to tempt or like seduce the characters, with some sort of devil deal with the devil type thing. The deal with the devil trope is something that I like to use.
I had an idea that flies directly in the face of what Jake said he wanted to do with his characters in the future, which might be fun.
Should make it your resolution.
What if we go around and we collectively try to come up with like a few bullets of a character concept that we think is the furthest away from a trope for that player?
Dibs on baritone
And
lesbian.
challenge them.
Are we going to come up with our own or other people's?
No, everybody else comes up with yours.
Yes, I love this.
I like it.
And just like a few bullets. And yeah, maybe in the next year, try to play that anti-personal trope character, even if it's in a one-shot or something.
I
I'll
definitely
note this.
I want the
Goddamn.
baritone lesbian. I want that's my
No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
we say like for Jake, like what is the most against trope that we could throw at him? And again, I think Jake's
I mean, like a silly like bard, fuck around like
slapdicky
kind of character.
chaotic
very
and
chaotic.
chaotic
A fuckboy.
charisma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Little fuckboy. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I try to play things I'm not in real life. Role playing.
Like a wild magic sorcerer.
I would say that or a really genuine, sweet, maybe religious, like earnestly,
yeah.
not
Earnestly,
not
Hey,
like
Rod on the Vine. I played a religious guy.
who just wants to smash and kill and die.
Yeah, that's what's the
That's
problem?
your ideal person.
Ithaca Project. What was your
Again, kind of like just the face man, like he was like the straight,
it was good, but he was a
straight-laced
good guy helping out the team.
Right, but my point was, I think that I have played a lot of that because
It's in service.
Like because that's very similar to Cyberpunk.
Does Jake need to make a character and I make a character and then we just switch
That's
characters?
actually
This would be amazing.
Ryan would definitely be like a very serious, not funny, grounded, dark.
Yeah.
Dark, I think, would be the thing
Just
I would throw at
Real
Ryan.
fucking serious guy.
And for me, the one exception is the game that we haven't put on there yet, because I feel like Torlox
Oh yeah, that's
is just pure chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
And someday my greatest character.
I love my goblin character. That's great. Creepy little goblin.
This is in a D&D game called Rogues Gallery that Devin ran.
Yeah.
And he's been working on editing.
Coming soon.
He's slowly but surely.
He's been working on this first
right there.
app for about 13 months, but it's every fucking Sistine Chapel wasn't paid for overnight.
I had a child. My son was
Child like
born.
2 months.
Your wife had a child.
Well, as someone who thinks himself as a baritone lesbian,
well, yeah.
he probably was involved.
So woke.
What would be Devin's anti-trope character?
Oh man. The straightest,
A straight man.
white,
Soprano-
chiseled chin,
soprano straight man.
chiseled
Yeah.
chin.
Devin
High
does
boy.
not like playing bad guys.
That's
Like
very
staying bad guy. Although
I've ran games. I've ran Dungeons and Dragons. I've ran RPGs. I love playing bad guys.
As
That's
a
where I
player
play bad
character.
guys.
As a player character.
on mic. I don't think you like being a bad guy.
No, I like because I like cooperating with the other characters at
Bad
the
guys
table.
can cooperate.
I know. I cooperated.
Lawful evil.
Savarkeen did some bad things.
She killed that air
It was
elemental.
cooperation.
But I think
Some cutscene.
I think we saw foreshadowing of that character's redemption, which was done very well. I like that character's arc,
You've made that clear.
but I think
reading
we
between
saw
the
the
lines.
foreshadowing early.
Yes.
That this character was going to.
Jake signaled to me. Jake gave me the dream, and I was like, I like this.
No accountability. this
Prophetic
guy.
dream.
The prophetic dream. Yeah. I was like, well done.
although Savarkeen kind of dipped back down a little bit at the end there.
Yeah, she did. She did some.
A little dip.
Yep.
But I feel like that's
She didn't kill her sister. Jidden killed her sister, and she just sat in.
Yeah, you did approve it though. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But for a dark elf, that's just a Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
mild. I don't know. A bad guy. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone else was playing bad guys. I was like, oh, I can be different and play a good guy.
This is the same way as it goes having any kind of debate with Devin.
What do you think, Devin? I think a conniving bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it
A
can't be
a
at the
selfish
cost of
character.
the game.
selfish character.
Selfish
yeah.
character. Yeah. Has their own motives.
Yeah. I mean, if there's opportunities in the story, the GM will feel like where that comes up. But like I said, like if I don't want to have a character who's like has, these either has evil ambitions and then, because I can't shape, where sort of the story goes. So that's why I lean into like cooperation. And then, you can always find your chance to take your little things for yourself. But I feel like, having that drive a story or a whole character arc is like, what am I just out to get people and to like make myself rich? I don't like that. I don't like that trope. I don't like the self-interested,
That's why you're going to play
So
it.
that's what you got to do.
Hugh Grant, the Hugh Grant character in the D&D
That's
movie,
the
the Hugh
challenge.
Grant guy.
Who are we doing next?
What's Dan's anti-trope?
The non-hero.
Human
No, basic.
person.
Basic.
Basic.
bitch.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Bob the janitor.
Bob the
Just,
janitor.
just straight healer, like straight support class.
Yeah, a like on paper,
Yep.
mundane kind
Mundane.
of background.
A muggle.
A muggle.
Yeah.
All right. I'll rip it.
Rip it. I'm thinking about John. I almost think like a weak character.
Yeah.
John's
Like-
been on a real kick with charisma-based characters
Yeah.
for a long time.
Which is part of it is trying to get out of what like my comfort zone a little bit of like someone who's not like me. I mean, I'm not like slash root at all. And that is
Which is part of the fun of playing a role playing
right,
game.
exactly.
Right?
And it's varying degrees of success, but yeah, I mean, maybe more fightery. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of
Straightforward, but I think your characters are are always very strong-willed and,
Yeah.
and sure of themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe like somebody who's a little bit,
Goes with the flow, but doesn't try to rock boat. You know.
But
Yeah.
not anti-authoritarian. You got to be a bootlicker.
Yeah, definitely a bootlicker.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty against
Like in a kinky way.
most.
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. Well, for sure.
What's his name? Your vampire
Z.
Z was a fucking narc.
Yeah. Well, Z was the most anti-authoritarian character that I've ever had. I ruined the game.
Dark.
I think it worked out.
That was awesome. That was betrayal. That was good betrayal. That was
Yeah.
fucking.
And Matt would just be like the friendly party boy, bring her together.
Yeah.
Bring her together. Yep.
Stone sober.
Oh,
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe that's an aspect.
A lot of his characters have access to some of like the weirdest
Drugs.
exotic drugs. Yeah,
it's true.
Straight edge paladin, I know one. You can borrow. But yeah, I mean, or even like
Team leader.
a face man kind of.
Yeah, face man. I was
face man.
thinking would be the
Leadership,
opposite.
Yeah, take.
You were a leader in Ouroboros.
This is true,
True.
actually.
I don't know if he was a face man though.
Yeah.
You were a leader. You were the perfect chef and the kitchen leader,
Exactly,
where
that's
you
right.
were a leader who was still an outsider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mazzina was a good muscle guy. That was a break from that archetype.
He was certainly more like
strong-
kind of charismatic. And,
Yeah.
Jake would just say I would play a good character, like mechanically good, an effective character.
Yeah.
I guess.
At the end of it, Josh is going to be like, this is amazing.
I want you to power game.
Min Max. Go to the Reddit boards.
Who hates animals?
You're playing a 20th level.
Hates animals. A big game hunter, a trophy hunter, a very effective trophy hunter who runs a dogfighting ring.
100%.
That's something the listeners really get behind.
Yeah.
Well,
there was one other thing. The capture scene or the capture.
oh, this was good. This is from friend of the pod, Andrew.
I'm going to read this. He said, I've been trying to separate tropes from game mechanics, and the only one that really keeps coming to mind is the capture scenario. The DM has an idea that the party gets captured and has a thrilling escape. It's fraught with difficulty. The players don't know it's a capture scenario, so they fight to the last, argue about how sleep spells don't affect them, etc. Eventually, the DM has to nod, wink, wink, that the players should just give up already.
That's a good one. It's going back to like the GM and story tropes, but
That is a good one. I have an answer for this. I did it. I deployed it with Andrew's guest spot on Wings of Connie. Is you just end the session there with stick them up, say that's it, and then you start the next session with them in prison. You do it all off screen. You don't give them the choice to fight back.
That might be the best answer to that because
Yeah.
that's a great storytelling plot line kind of situation, and it does suck to play it out because at some point you basically just have to tell the players you can't win this.
Right.
Yeah.
And players always are, a lot of times as a player, you're expecting that there's a way out, that you just have to think creatively. Like that's what the storyteller wants of you. Whereas I think to your point, Devin, that hard cut is a very effective way to do it.
Yeah, if it's not a hard cut, the really the best way to do it is to make it telegraph it that you're so outnumbered that it's bad. But also, if the PCs win, and they get away. Like the roll of the dice should dictate it, and your game shouldn't be dependent on the fact that they're going to get captured. Because
it's a fun backup, which I think a lot of us have done. Maybe not on the podcast that I can think of, but when they're not supposed to lose the fight and they do, and you don't want a fucking total party wipe at that point in a game or campaign or whatever, and you just like they're captured.
I think that it goes into some of the issues with TTRPGs in general and playing. Like you're always expecting a fight. You're always expecting the fight to one side's unconscious. People aren't running away. There's no like giving up or surrendering oftentimes. So maybe building that more into the game ahead of time, and then you get to the point where there's going to be a capture scenario, and it kind of is built into the previous sessions that they're giving up. They're or they're giving mercy to you when you're down, half your team or whatever.
We just have to telegraph that it's obvious, which I think Jake did well, like in Tangle Web. There was the point where a fight did start, and then it became clear that we were being betrayed, and it was very clear to us as players that, like, we can't win this, which I think is better to just do that than to, I mean, if we fought back, I don't know.
Yeah, I was worried about that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've all probably done this when we were younger, especially running games where you're like, it's going to be a cool jailbreak, and first they got to get captured. And I know I've done that in the past, like when we were younger, and I've run games where I'm just like, why are you guys still fighting? And it's like, well, of course they're fighting. That's what D&D is.
Right.
Yeah.
Josh had to in the Monster of the Week in his Arowana episode, Barry was fighting the dragon, and I had this ability where I could not die as long as battle continued. And I was so down to just like fight the dragon. Josh was like, no, this is getting really dangerous. So, yeah. And then it took me a couple of times, and I was like, all right, it's time to go.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful because it can get frustrating when you put characters in the situation where they can't win and they don't necessarily know that. So I do think that if you're in that situation, the best scenario is to just screen wipe.
Yeah.
Like Devin was saying. But I also think like telling the characters that, this is the plan, it's not ideal, but it's better than them sitting there and being frustrated.
Sure. I think the other kind of piece of the puzzle there is like your relationships to the people around the table and how long you've played with them. If you're new to one another and you're sitting down at a fresh game and you don't know everyone, it'll be much harder because expectations are kind of mixed. Whereas if you've been playing for a long time, you can kind of see that, as Andrew put it, that wink, wink, this is the way it's going to go kind of scenario.
The times we've played Everyday Heroes, talking about building in sort of or telegraphing that this might be a possibility is the chase scenes. We use them in Cyberpunk too. We're like, at the beginning of the scenario or the encounter, you say, all right, you need this many. If you get this many chase points, and if you win this contest, you'll escape. If you don't win this contest, you will be arrested and detained.
Yeah.
And then you set that out, and then you can still have the exciting, chase and play through the whole thing.
Speaking of Everyday Heroes, I think that Everyday Heroes is a great example of a good use of tropes because the entire game is based on action movie tropes, right?
It's what all the archetypes are.
Every archetype is a different trope, and all of their abilities are like, oh yeah, that's the thing from Die Hard,
Yeah.
And it works really well because like someone was saying, like you recognize it immediately. You can visualize what it's supposed to look like on the screen, The other one is Monster of the Week. Like the Monster of the Week setting is, again, like every class is based on tropes. Like the game, the whole system of the game is based on the X-Files.
Yeah.
Like it's based on like the Monster of the Week trope. Yeah.
There are a lot of moves that reference like pop culture things.
Yeah.
I think Liv mentioned that in her comment. Like the X-Files.
Peter, I know Peter did.
Yeah.
Peter mentioned the trope that was once popular with TV that I wish was more prevalent is the Monster of the Week. He wrote that down towards the end of his post, and it is a good one.
Liv also did.
Yeah, she did too.
And she had a good one. Topic. She had a good sort of anti-trope idea. She said, but while writing all this, I'm wondering what it would look like to have an X-Files style conspiracy arc from the perspective of the quote-unquote bad guys. Listening to the party uncover mystery is great, but it'd be interesting to hear a season where the party are the ones creating the mystery or the crime, and someone else is getting closer and closer to exposing them. I don't know how something like that would actually work and play. That would be tough, but like the guys and gals putting together the conspiracy.
Yeah. The hard part is that the interesting thing about like the X-Files is learning it as you go, but in this you would know it all up front.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I could still see very interesting aspects of that.
Yeah.
Cult of the Dragon?
Well, what do we think? Any last words on tropes? Anything anybody wants to throw in that we
I think they work. I think they, if you deploy them, if you're sort of smart with them and tactical with how you use these tropes, it can pull people in. It's something that, everyone recognizes and can, like grab onto, like Matt said. It's this like anchor point. And then from there, you can do all the other things to sort of flesh it out and build out around it. But I think it's tropes. I mean, like I said before, tropes are the way they are because they're used and they can be effective. It's like a cliche. Like a cliche is the way it is because it's salient at some point.
Another trope. We don't obviously play a lot of like romance type things, but another one that I am so sick of.
That's going to be a Patreon upper
so-
tier
Romantasy.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of, she's special. She's half demon or monster or vampire or whatever, and she falls in love with the monster. Like, it's so overdone. Like,
Yeah, I guess you mentioned a couple people did, but like least favorite tropes. Does anybody have like a least favorite either character or story trope that comes in mind? I know we mentioned a few like that listeners wrote in about. Anybody have anything that they really genuinely don't enjoy, whether it's at a game table or just in fiction and storytelling in general?
I think we just love them all.
I
We
think
love 'em all.
I mean the good versus evil, the straight good versus evil, I think is one that typically doesn't work. And if it does work, it works because you subverted it and made the good and evil be gray in the
Yeah.
end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like maybe one of them is, half demon.
Yeah.
And
And
then they
then-
fall in
and
love
then
with
they
the
fall in
demon.
love with it,
Yeah.
Not so much a trope, but like a genre. I don't know. It's like a mutation of like sort of media now, or it's the sort of mystery story that like, but every time there's like a clue, there's just like a deeper layer and a deeper layer and a deeper layer and a deeper layer.
Never goes anywhere.
And there's never any resolution of any
Yeah.
of these things. It just
what's behind the door, right? Is that that's the made famous by that show with the airplane that crashes on the beach.
Oh, Lost.
Lost. Thank you. Yeah, because every season was basically like just literally another layer
Yeah.
of the island, another mystery.
I liked Dark, but it was that
had
too.
some of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think they call it mystery bag.
Mm.
It's called. So you just keep reaching in.
The worst one, and I can think of examples of movies that do it well. But at a gaming table is divine intervention. Not necessarily divine, but
Like
when
Deus Ex
Deus Ex
Machina.
Machina.
yeah, when you're 12 and you're playing D&D and the dungeon master puts you in an impossible situation, but then his character flies in on a dragon and saves you. You know?
Like if you put your former
Your former wizard.
if he had showed up and saved us at the end.
yeah.
You know what movie did that or displayed that really well? The Dungeons and Dragons movie, the Paladin.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the
that just
DMP
did
stand.
everything.
It's-
Yeah.
And he walks away.
It's Gandalf like riding in,
Yeah,
with
right,
to save everyone, like that kind of thing. It takes away agency from the players.
Yep.
First light on the fifth day. Look to the east.
unflawed characters, like just Mary Sue. I think that like that
Yeah.
term.
Yep.
Just characters that just don't have a lot of shortcomings, or whether mechanical or personality wise, are super boring to me. I think
Superman.
that's pretty. Yes,
Yeah. No risk.
they write around that, but it's always challenging, like, because that is the thing. You have the ultimate powerful, super good doer.
Yeah.
Boring.
I think that's like a superhero thing. It's always like this. We know the superheroes, like the protagonists, are the good guy, and and then the person that they're fighting against is usually the bad guy.
Well, I think the most popular superheroes are the ones that are flawed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the ones that are in, the mass production, the big, the things that are all around, popular media are those sort of very simple, easy to digest stories.
Well,
I think that's a wrap.
let's again, this was this came to be because of our patrons, and we'll be doing a lot more of these, but they won't all be on the main feed. So if you want to be a part of it, patreon.com/nastygram, check out our 3 levels. But more importantly, I want to shout out our inaugural class, because it is awesome that anyone would give us money to do what we're doing. And bear in mind, that money is just making a red line slightly less deep red. So, and that's our aspirations, just to make this sustainable and to be able to justify potentially doing more things, spending more money, whatever. But our Goodberries, Michael C., David K., Peter D., our Adventures Rations, Sir Thom, Tim W., Sci-Fi Guy, Max, and our Heroes Feast, Adam T. Liv doesn't count because she tried to pay, and I told her, you can't pay. You've literally
Take that
been
money back.
involved helping the podcast. Brian K. and Peter S.
Yeah,
So,
help us raise money so we can pay Liv.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, eventually,
Yeah.
right? We could help give some money to creators because, it's never going to be enough to go around this table.
No.
Maybe pay somebody to get some editing help around here. Huh?
Yeah.
for some
Thank
snacks?
you.
Does such a good
thank
job.
you to everyone that
Yeah,
Josh
thanks.
just read out. It means a lot to us.
Thank you, fam.
Thank you.
Jump in the Discord. Be a part of the next GM roundtable. Come and tell us.
Tell us what to do with our mouths.
Yeah,
Get under the table. Put your money where you want Dan's mouth.
Perfect.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.
Entertainment. That's entertainment.
That's nasty.